steel mold is estimated to be 1 year, while that of wooden mold is 1 month, right. So, what basically is given is that the steel mold will continue to serve you for 1 year, whereas wooden mold it will continue only for 1 month, right. Now, the information on cost is also given. It says that the costs of preparing one set of steel mold and one set of wooden mold are rupees 40,000 and rupees 5,000 respectively. That means, if you are using a steel mold, it will cost you rupees 40,000 for one set. If you are using wooden mold, it will cost you rupees 5,000, right. Now, life also is given, steel mold 1 year and wooden mold 1 month. Now, it is further estimated that the labor costs for assembling and removing the steel and wooden molds are rupee 1 and 0.9. That means, it is about 90 paise per sleeper respectively, right. The problem is formulated in Indian currency, right. So, it does not matter if you can change it to your currency also, right. We are just discussing about the concept. So, really it does not matter which currency we are using. So, all of you are able to understand the problem? Problem is clear to you? Okay, now we will try to, yeah, please. Problem is clear to you? Okay, okay. What I will just try to summarize it. You can just read the slides. Basically, we are trying to understand the concept of out of pocket commitment, right. In that, there are two types of material that is available to us, wooden material, wooden mold as well as steel mold. The cost of one set of steel mold is given, it is rupees 40,000, rupees is Indian currency, right. So, the cost of one set of steel mold and cost of one set of wooden mold is given to you, rupees 40,000 and rupees 5,000 respectively. Labor cost is also given to you. That means, if you are casting one steel mold, if you are casting one sleeper using a steel mold, labor charges are rupee 1, and if you are using the wooden sleeper, wooden mold, you have to pay 0.9 rupee, right, clear. So, can you find out the out of pocket commitment for both these options, steel as well as wooden option? How much is the total expense for wooden sleeper and how much is the total expense for steel sleeper? This I have worked it out for you. So, solution also you can see on the slide. The out of pocket commitment for steel mold option, alternative 1, it is nothing but the total labor cost plus the mold cost, right. So, total labor cost would be how much if it is rupee 1 for each sleeper? Remember, we have to produce 1 lakh sleeper. So, 1 lakh multiplied by 1 would be rupee 1 lakh, right. So, that would be the labor cost, and the cost of mold, it is 40,000. So, the total cost is coming to be 1,40,000, 140,000, right. So, this is as far as steel mold option is concerned, right. Now, on the similar line you can work out the out of pocket commitment for wooden mold. So, the cost would be 0.9 into 1 lakh, that is 100,000 plus rupees 5,000 into 12. Why? Because the life of one wooden mold is only 1 month. Now, since you have to work for 1 year, so you need 12 wooden molds, right. Each wooden mold costs rupees 5,000. So, 12 wooden mold would cost rupees 60,000. So, what you find here is that the total cost or the total expense is coming to be 1,50,000, right. So, which option you would choose? what you have found is the out of commitment for both the alternatives. Now, you have to make a decision which one you would like to go for. Can you answer it now? You would prefer a steel mold or you would prefer wooden mold? Steel mold, right. So, this is as far as method 1 is concerned, that is evaluating out of pocket commitment, right. Now, we go to next method which is called payback period, right. Now, this also I have tried to evaluate, I have tried to explain you through one simple illustration, right. In this what you find is a contractor has two brands of excavators A and B to choose from. That means, let us say there are two brands of excavators, excavators are used for digging earth, right. So, there are two brands, it could be any manufacturer A and manufacturer B, right. Now, suppose both the brands are available for a down payment of rupees 4 lakhs, 4 lakhs is 400,000 rupees 400,000. Both brands are available for rupees 400,000 down payment. Down payment means you are paying immediately now, right. So, that is called down payment. Now, both brands can be useful for a period of 4 years. That means, the life is given to be 4 years for both the equipment, brand A as well as brand B. Brand A is estimated to give a return of rupees 50,000 for the first year. Return means the total income that you are getting out of that particular equipment. Rupees 1,50,000 for the second year and rupees 200,000 for the third and fourth year. Clear? Brand E is costing you rupees 400,000 down payment and it is expected to give you a return of 50,000 for the first year, 150,000 for the second year, 200,000 for the third and fourth year. Now, there are information on brand B also. Brand B is expected to give a return of rupees 150,000 for all the 4 years. Clear? Now, the payback period, basically what we try to find out, we try to find the period in which your initial investment is recovered. Suppose 400,000 you have invested in brand A, how many years it takes to recover this initial investment? That is called payback period. So, can you find the payback period for brand A? Just try to work it out. After how many years you are getting rupees 400,000 back? So, first year you are getting 50,000, second year you are getting 150,000. So, total is 200,000 at the end of 2 years, and in third year itself you are also getting another 200,000. So, total is how much? 400,000. So, that means in how many years you are able to recover 400,000? In 3 years, right. So, we call that payback period for brand A is 3 years. Is it clear to you? Right. Now, in the same manner you try to find out the payback period for brand B. Here also the initial investment is 400,000 and you are getting a uniform return for all the 4 years, that is equivalent to 150,000, right. Now, sometimes these informations you try to show it on a diagram. So, for example, 50,000, for example, you are investing 400,000 here and you are getting a return of 50,000 here. Second year you are getting a return of 150,000. Third year you are getting a return of 200,000 and fourth year also you are getting a return of 200,000. Clear? This is as far as brand A is concerned. So, in payback period what you have to find is after how many years or after how many months you are able to recover this money. Why this money? Because this is the investment that you have made now, that is called down payment. So, this 400,000 after how many years or after how many months you are able to get? You will find that this is year 1, this is year 2, this is year 3. So, if you sum it for first 3 years, you find that it adds up to 400,000. Clear? So, we say that the payback period is 3 years. Payback period is 3 years. Why? Because I am able to get my total investment in 3 years itself. 50,000 plus 150,000 plus 200,000. Now, as far as this method is concerned, we are really not bothered what happens after year 3. This point you please make a note of it. The moment you are able to recover your money, you forget or you rather neglect what you are going to get beyond that payback period. Right? So, we are not really bothered after end of year 3, because as far as I am concerned, I have got my investment back. So, this is the payback period for brand A. Now, on the same line you try to work out the payback period for brand B. So, for brand B it is like this. Again I am investing 400,000 now and I am getting a return of 150,000 every year for the next 4 years. So, this is year 1, this is year 2, this is year 3, this is year 4. Sometimes this is also represented by 0. 0 means right now, that is at present. Now, for this example, have you calculated what would be the payback period? That means, after how many years or after how many months you are able to get back this 400,000. So, you can easily make a guess that the payback period would lie somewhere between 2 and 3. Why? Because at the end of year 2 you are getting total money of 150 plus 150, 300,000. At the end of year 3 you are getting a total sum of 150 into 3, that is 450,000. So, you can make simple interpolation and find out the exact payback period. Has anybody worked it out how much it is coming to? I have worked out this problem for you and you can cross check its answer. For example, this is as far as payback period for brand A is concerned. You can notice that the payback period is 3 years and you must also make a note of it that the method does not consider the returns after the payback period. Hence, in this case the return of 4th year is simply overlooked. Clear? Now, for this you have already worked it out. For brand B, this is how you can calculate the payback period. See, the payback period, as I told you earlier, will lie between 2 and 3 years. At the end of 2 years, you are getting total money as 300,000, and at the end of 3 years, you are getting the total money as 450,000. So, you will find that the payback period for this option would be 2.67 years. That is nothing but 2 years and 8 months. Is it clear to you? It is very simple. We are using just linear interpolation between year 2 and year 3. Now, after 2 years and 8 months, whatever happens is simply overlooked. Is it clear to you? Now, the payback period for brand A was coming to be 3 years and the payback period for brand B is coming to be 2.67 years. So, which brand of excavator you would prefer based on this methodology of evaluation? Which one you would choose? Yes, technology class. Which one you would choose? Yes. Why? Because its payback period is less. Whatever money you are investing now, you are able to get it in 2 years and 8 months time. So, this methodology says that whichever alternative has got the lowest payback period, go for it. So, this is as far as payback period method is concerned, right. Now, I will take you to third method of evaluation when you do not need to consider time value of money, and that is called average annual rate of return. Just see these slides, average annual rate of return. That is the third method of evaluation when we do not need to take time value of money into consideration, right. So, for the same example which we illustrated you for payback period method, we can calculate the average annual rate of return also. It is nothing but how much return you are getting and over a period of how many years. So, if you have got these two informations, total return and total number of years that it takes, we can always find the average rate of return. For example, in payback period method we had taken this sum, right, 400,000, 50,000 you are getting in year 1, 150,000 in year 2, 200,000 in year 3 and another 200,000 in year 4. So, how much is the total return? Total return is 600,000, this plus this plus this plus this, total is 600,000. Now, this you are getting for how many years? For a period of 4 years. So, what is the average return? 600,000 divided by 4. So, this is the average return that you are getting on an annual basis, right. So, it is like this, return would be 50,000 plus 150,000 plus 200,000 plus 200,000 divided by 4. 4 is what? Number of years, right. So, this makes 600,000 divided by 4, which is equal to 150,000. That means, you are getting a return of 150,000 every year, and you have invested how much money? 400,000. So, what would be the return? Percentage return would be 150,000 divided by 400,000. Remember, 400,000 is your initial investment. This multiplied by 100. So, this is equal to about 37.5%. Are you able to get this? Right. Now, in the same manner, you try to work out the annual rate of return for brand B. You will find that for brand B also you will get an average value of 37.5%, right. So, what you find here is that as far as this method is concerned, average annual rate of return method is concerned, both the brands of excavators are equally attractive. So, you can choose any one of them, right. So, one more point has come out with this discussion, that sometimes the application of different methods can change your decisions as well. Suppose I would have chosen to apply payback period method for this problem, our answer would have been to go for option B or brand B. Whereas, if I am applying this particular method, any one of these brands would do. That means, there is really not much to make between these two brands. So, I could have gone for either brand A or brand B. So, the idea here is that the selection of method will influence your decision making also, right. So, what we have seen in this particular class is that when we do not need to consider time value of money, these three methods we can utilize to choose the best alternative out of number of alternatives, right. So, this was as far as discussion on situation in which time value of money is not to be considered was concerned, right. Now, we will move on to those situations in which we need to take time value of money into consideration. But before that, we will quickly move to our discussion on interest. When at the beginning of the class I stated that money loses in its value or money loses in its worth over a period of time. Now, we want to capture this particular argument, by what it loses money, by how much. Let us say 100 rupees or $100, if somebody is giving me now, what is its worth or how much is it equivalent to after 1 year or after 2 years. So, basically we are interested in situations like this, $100 now, what it would be equivalent to after let us say 5 years, or what it would be equivalent to after 3 years. So, basically we are interested in finding these values, or similarly the problem can be reversed also. I would be interested in knowing if I am getting, let us say, $100 after end of year 5, what is it equivalent to now? Clear? That means, let us say this we refer to as P, which represents present value, this we represent it by, let us say, F, future value. So, we are interested in finding out the money's worth at different point of time, and for this we use the concept of interest, right. Now, you must be familiar about simple interest concept, then compound interest. So, here in construction economics most of the time we use the concept of compound interest, which is really not that difficult, and that is why and you will find that most of the time compound interest only is taken for these analysis purposes, right. So, I will quickly tell you about, I will really, you must be aware of all these concepts, but I will quickly take you to the discussion on interest. So, basically the most important principle involved in construction economics is that of interest, right. Now, according to Riggs, it can be looked upon as the cost of using capital. Capital is the money that you are using, right. Now, why you pay interest or why somebody charges interest? Because suppose I am paying some money to you, right, there is lot of risk involved. It may so happen that I may not get my money back, right, or it may also happen that I may not be able to use this money for my other purpose. So, what is happening? The lender is losing the opportunity to invest this money in some investment alternative, that is why he is charging interest, right. So, basically in order to cover the risk and the reward of losing the opportunity to use the money, right, makes one to charge interest for the capital that he has lent. Now, similarly borrower also is paying the interest because he is able to use this money for some of its application, some of his application, and through that application he is earning some money, right. So, naturally if you are using somebody else money, he must be compensated for that. So, this is what Riggs and other authors have said, that it is nothing but the cost of using the capital, right. Now, Riggs also further says that the interest represents the earning power of money, and basically it is the premium that you pay to compensate a lender for the administrative cost of making a loan. That is point number 1, the administrative cost of making a loan. Second thing, the risk of non-payment. It is a big risk. You must be aware of many situations in which somebody has defaulted, and that is a big risk to the lender. So, he gets covered partly if he is charging the interest over a given period of time. Yes. Okay. Now, similarly, as I told you, a borrower pays interest charges for the opportunity to do something now that otherwise would have to be delayed or would never be done. Suppose somebody is giving me money now, I am able to use that money for some of my investment purpose, which would not have been possible if I would not have been able to get that money, right. Now, as we discussed just now, there are two types of interest. In fact, there are a number of types of interest, but we will start our discussion with simple interest and compound interest, right. Simple interest, as the name suggests, it is in this you are paying the charges only on the principal amount. That means, you do not have to pay interest on the interest part, right. But in most of our economic situation, we use the compound interest, and for this I have taken one simple example. You must have been coming across many of the situations which reads like this: interest on the deposit will be payable at the rate of 8% compounded quarterly. So, this expression I wanted to explain you, because these are very important for our further discussion on cash flow and other discussions, right. So, you find that when it is written like this 8% compounded quarterly, I have made it in bold letters. So, when the quarterly comes, it means the interest will be computed on every 3 months. That means, in any given year there would be interest computations 4 times, that is at the end of every quarter. That is, after every 3 months interest would be computed on the principal amount and it will get added into the principal amount, right. This process is repeated 4 times. Suppose it would have been compounded monthly. Suppose it would have been compounded monthly, in that case interest computations would be done on a monthly basis. That means, there would be 12 intervals for calculations of interest. So, for example, if you have taken rupees 100 at a rate of 8% compounded quarterly, you will find that it becomes 108.24 in 1 year, right. If it would have been simple interest, it would have become 108, right. Now, if it is a compound interest and that too it is compounded quarterly, you can make the calculations and find that the total amount at the end of year 1 would be equivalent to 108.24. I will tell you how it is done. ₹100 to start with, right. Now, it says quarterly. There are 4 quarters. So, quarter 1, if it is 8%, so at first quarter it would become 100 plus 2 by 100. So, how much it would become? You will not this, it would become 102, not this, because it is 2%. So, we are paying 2 rupees on 100 rupees. So, at the end of quarter 1, this would be equivalent to 102, right. At the end of quarter 2, how much this would become? 102 plus interest. Now, you have to charge 2% on 102. So, that would become something. Similarly, Q3, suppose this value is x. So, now Q3 becomes x plus interest, suppose this is y, and Q4 again this would be y plus interest. This would be equivalent to 108.24. Now, this 8.24 figure, this 8.24 figure is called effective interest. So, although it is 8% compounded quarterly, it is coming equivalent to 8.2% effective interest, right. Now, this you can also calculate using some formula. Instead of doing it in quarter wise or month wise, you can use certain formulas that I will just give you. But before that, you can understand that this 8% represents nominal interest, that is known as nominal interest. So, suppose somebody states that I will give you 8% compounded quarterly, it means 8% represents nominal interest and the effective interest that you will have to pay would be 8.24%. Now, this can be computed using simple formula also, this you can derive also. You can note down this formula. So, it says I effective, that is effective interest rate, is equal to 1 plus I nominal divided by m into 100, where m is the period of compounding. M is the period of compounding. Now, this is raised to, I will write to you clearly because it may not be that clear. So, this is 1 plus I nominal divided by m into 100 raised to power m minus 1 100. So, you can note down this formula, this is nothing but I effective that is effective interest rate is equal to 100 into 1 plus I nominal divided by m into 100 whole raised to power m minus 1. Now, m is compounding period. So, in our example m is 4, right, and I nominal in our example is 8. So, you can calculate I effective would be coming to be 8.24%. You can cross check this. Right. So, we have come to the close of this particular lecture. I will just quickly summarize whatever we have discussed in this class. We started with situations in which we need not consider the time value of money, and then I told you 3 methods. Method 1 was out of pocket commitment, method 2 was payback period method, and method 3 was average annual rate of return. These 3 methods are used in situations where we do not need to consider time value of money. And in what situations we do not need to consider time value of money? When the duration given is very small, and second, when we need to take instant decision and we are not having enough time or we are not having enough tool with us through which we can analyze the time value of money. right. These are the three situations, these are the two situations rather in which we use these three methods, and finally towards the end of the lecture we discussed some concepts of interest, right. If you have got any doubt you can please ask. Technology class, if you have any doubt you can please ask, or else what you can do, you can try to do some simple examples by going through any of the textbook that I have mentioned, and then you can ask these doubts in next class also. Yes, you have any doubt? No doubt? Yes, please. Okay, if you have no doubt, then we are closing the session for the day. Fine. So, next class we will discuss about cash flow in simple situations and then project cash flow. So, till then, good night from all of us here. हो गया.